Hey folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, and there's something that we need to talk about that I've had a problem with for a while in The Sims 4, and that is aspirations. I feel like in the past few years, they've been too shallow, and they all seem to have one thing in common, that they're glorified tutorials. Now, it would be bad if we got those once in a while, but that's all that we seem to be getting. There are a couple that I think are okay, like the Master Actor one in Get Famous, since it's not super easy and it does make sense to have Sims want to aspire to become an actor or an actress. And then the one in Strangerville I think makes sense as well, since it helps guide you through the story, since that pack in particular is very different and revolves around a pre-made storyline instead of making your own. But otherwise, I think there's way too many of these tutorial-like aspirations. When I think of aspiring to something in real life, I don't think about following a short tutorial that I complete very quickly, giving me enough satisfaction to have me feel set for life. This could be part of an underlying problem with how aspirations in The Sims 4 in general are treated. I think because we can easily switch aspirations whether we've completed the current one or not, is what's justified the making of the newer aspirations we got, and has made them feel less meaningful. They've also become really easy, a great example being Eco Innovator from Eco Lifestyle. That aspiration has only 3 milestones, the only thing that prevents the whole aspiration from being completed in literally under a day in sim time, is that the final milestone requires you to reach level 10 of the civil designer career. I wish I was joking. I'm using it for one of my Sims in my Eco Lifestyle Let's Play, but after that, I'm not sure I'll ever use it again. I wanted an eco-friendly aspiration, but I never imagined it'd be so easy. Maybe it could have had a goal to keep their home neighborhood green for a few weeks straight. Granted, at the time of making this video, it's ridiculously easy to fall back into a neutral eco footprint, whether you want to shoot for industrial or green. But I hope that can be changed in a future patch without us having to rely on mods. It's a very different situation from The Sims 2, where the point is that you choose an aspiration and stick with it for life and keep completing once to keep your aspiration meter at least in the green. That way your sim does not have a mental breakdown from the meter going down into the red. You can still use the Renew You Senso Orb reward object to change your aspiration, and eventually it also became possible to have a secondary aspiration. But The Sims 2 is still not designed to be getting you to complete as many different aspirations in a lifetime as possible. Sims 2 is often considered the best Sims game overall, and I think how aspirations were handled alongside wants and fears supports that. It doesn't help that for some reason in The Sims 4, whims are now disabled in the options menu by default. Those are the closest thing we have to the want system from The Sims 2. I remember even getting a comment from someone thinking the whims are a mod, but nope. They're just a feature that with no official explanation were quietly put on the back burner. Fears aren't in the game at all, which I think is why I often forget about whims compared to The Sims 2's wants. There's no real reason to worry about a Sim's lack of personal progression in The Sims 4. In The Sims 4, the aspirations are little more than checklists. The rewards store still exists, though I keep forgetting about it most of the time. To be fair though, I tend to also forget about the reward store in The Sims 2, so maybe that specific part is just a me problem. With that tangent, it's safe to say that without a giant overhaul from the ground up of The Sims 4's aspiration system, I doubt it will come close to the depth of Sims 2's. But that does not mean that we should keep getting tutorials for aspirations. It's one thing to simply say, "This sucks, do better." I want to suggest how to do better as well. I think a giant overhaul of the aspiration system to be at least close to the Sims 2 system this late in the game's life cycle is unrealistic, and should be left to what will eventually, hopefully, be a Sims 5. What I think can still be done in The Sims 4 is to have future Aspirations integrate more with the base game, rather than just focusing on a pack's new content, though it could still mix some in. Let's go back to late last year when the first round of community voting started for what is now becoming the nifty knitting stuff pack. One of the other themes we could vote on was about self-care routines, with one of the gameplay ideas focusing on a healthy living aspiration. The proposal for it reads, Sims with the healthy living aspiration strive to live the healthiest life possible. They receive gameplay bonuses for eating healthy foods, and can unlock unique exercises and recipes. They can join the Healthy Lifestyle Coach freelancer career and help other Sims improve their health. That does not sound like a tutorial to me. It sounds like something that integrates with everyday gameplay that makes sense to use on lots of Sims instead of just one for an in-game guide. Even though I did not vote on this theme, I can't deny this sounded like a very promising aspiration. I guess if enough of us asked for it, then it could still happen. After all, plenty of us wanted off the grid over laundry for the first community stuff pack, but we eventually got a whole expansion pack for off the grid gameplay. What gives me a little bit of hope, though, is that the developers seem to finally be listening to us regarding traits. Eco Lifestyle gave us 4 of them, and I want to point out the Maker trait because not only does it include all the new crafting objects in the pack, but also woodworking from the base game, so there's a bit of progress in that area. I just hope we can start getting better aspirations. With nifty knitting stuff, we are getting a Lord of the Knits aspiration. All we know about it at the time of making this video is that the reward trait is called Sacred Knitting Knowledge. I suppose it makes sense to have a knitting aspiration, but I'm still worried it'll be too narrow in focus and not provide enough challenge, especially given it's all within the scope of a stuff pack, the smallest of the Sims 4's 3 pack types. I'm surprised Nifty Knitting even has one, since this is the first time we're getting an aspiration in a stuff pack. So, I'm not expecting much from Nifty Knitting's aspiration, but I hope they can make better and more challenging aspirations in other packs. If, for example, we got a Hobbies pack, a hobby aspiration could use not just new content, but base game and potentially other pack content too. Maybe it could involve mastering multiple hobbies rather than only one. A farming expansion pack could be not only about raising livestock, but also be leading a self-sufficient lifestyle and growing some of the harvestables from the base game, maybe even integrating some of the base game off-the-grid gameplay if it ends up making sense. At this point, I look forward to new traits, but the new aspirations I find so boring it doesn't feel that different from not getting any at all. I've said several times that The Sims 4 needs to give more personality for our Sims, and how aspirations are being handled these days is one of those things holding them back. Now that build mode got some great improvements over the past year or two, I think more focus needs to be put on improving sim depth beyond cosmetics. As much as I enjoy The Sims 4, the game is almost 6 years old, and I still think it could be a lot better. The build mode is a distinct improvement, and the same with Create a Sim, at least as far as cosmetics goes, though I still need body hair and more diverse hairstyles and skin tones that don't have any weird blotches on them. But the personality aspects of Create a Sim and Live mode, I think, are what need the most improvement. If you agree with me about this game's aspirations, feel free to share this video with your friends as well as the Sim Gurus. They have listened to our feedback before, so I hope they can listen to us about this as well, even if it ends up taking a while. And with that, be sure to subscribe if you want to keep up with my latest content from The Sims, Paralive, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more. So I will talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!